everybody, it's Sharon here. Welcome back to my channel for those who are returning, and welcome to any new subscribers that may be visiting for the first time. My cover has been left to dry overnight and I'm actually really happy with the way it came out. I was a little bit worried I'd have glue marks around the edges, but there's a little bit of a mark here. I don't know if you can see that in camera. But unless you're looking really hard, you really don't notice it. Anyway, I've decided to have a little play with the inside papers. As I mentioned to you before, I use my recycled papers usually on the inside of my books. So this is a sheet of my paper here, but as you can see, it's not quite wide enough to fit this size book that I've made. So what I'm thinking of doing is adding it vertically. And I'm thinking if I cut it about halfway down the spine and either join or slightly overlap, then that area should be tucked away behind the signatures. So, and it will give a nice seamless look. So that's what I'm aiming at doing. And I was just about to start and decided I should turn the camera on for you all to watch. Now, I quite like the look of the uneven edges. So I'm hoping I can make that work along the bottom. Just going to stand up. So I'm thinking about here. And just grabbing my ruler. And about there. So I'm going to try and tear it. I don't know how successful it will be. Keep your fingers crossed for me. I just don't really want, I probably should have marked top and bottom actually. I don't really want a cut edge. Okay, and the ruler. Probably want it a little bit lower than I've marked, I think. I have no idea if this will work, guys. Then I'll mark the other one when I've done this. We'll see if this will work. Now I've got to find my marks. There we go. I'll turn it this way. The reason I turn the paper around is because I want to tear the large pieces going into the cover towards me so that I don't end up with fibers that shouldn't be there. I don't know how else to explain it. Okay. Well, that actually tore better than I thought it would, so that's good. Okay. I don't know if you'll see on camera here. So this is the torn edge that I pulled towards me. And if I turn it upside down, that's where I pulled away. So it just makes for a rougher edge. Okay. And then this one, oops, just roughly finding my center. there. I hope this is okay. Fingers crossed again. Okay, so I want to pull the part that I'm working with towards me. And I just have to ease that edge to get it to start tearing. Okay, so hopefully that's one side. Okay, so if I flip that, oops. I just want to see if I am at center. Roughly there, not far off. So I'm going to use this one as a guide for my next. Okay, and I'm just trying to decide which. I think I like this piece. So if I pop it that way, and as you can see, one of them isn't quite, well, they're probably not straight, but that's okay. I'm hoping I can make that work anyway. And I'm going to give this one a little bit more just in case. Worst comes to worst, I will cut it. Okay. And that's actually the right size. Fabulous. Didn't even realize. So I'm thinking that way. And like I said, I'm perfectly okay with the imperfections of the uneven edge. I think that actually adds to it. And I do have a crossover, if you can see here, just a rough idea. I'd say it's about not quite half an inch. No, it's about 1/4 of an inch, just over 1/4 of an inch. So I'm hoping that will work well. Okay, and I might... Okay, so that was this side. This was the second piece I tore, and I know that because it had this funny little gathering at the top here. Let's see if I can press that out just a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to use a combination of fabric glue. I've got this fabric glue here, which is acid free. Hoping that's focusing for you. Acid free. So, and this one here, I'm going to use this one on the chipboard and cardboard. So a little bit of combination of both. This one's also acid free, if you can see here. And hopefully that will adhere really well. So first of all, I'm going to use my fabric glue. It does dry a little slower, so I'll have a little bit of time. That's okay, I can spread that out in a moment. So I'm just going around the edges. I don't know if you can see all of this, I'm sorry. Just going over the fabric area. Oh, and realizing that I've done it upside down, which isn't very clever. So that's okay, I can flip the paper. That will work. And I need to dry my brush. It's sitting in my water. Okay, so I just want to spread that evenly, and I don't want to go right to the edges. It's okay if I have excess. Okay, and then I just want to get right to the edges here. I do want to remove some of that excess. Okay, and then using this quick adhesive, I'm just doing the card and chipboard area. And I do want a nice liberal coating so that it adheres really well. Okay, and keeping everything crossed, guys. As I said, this is the first time I've made a cover this way, and don't ask me why, but I decided to turn the camera on. Of course, there's a beauty in the fact that I have control over whether this goes to YouTube or not. Okay. And I find it much easier to press things down with paper towel rather than just using my hand. So I'm just trying to make sure there's contact with the surface underneath in all areas at the moment. Not too, and that's come away. So I just need to be careful with that area. I'm just giving it a moment before I use the bone folder. This paper is, because it's homemade, it can be quite delicate, as you've just seen in some areas. And it's probably a good thing that I turned that paper around, although it was an accident. I'm just going to get some more paper towel. Sorry. Yes, although it was an accident, I think it's going to be a good thing. Just teasing it into the groove there for the fold. Sorry, I'm probably jiggling the camera around. It's not intentional, and I forgot for a second that you were leaning against the table on the camera stand, so my apologies for that. I'm not pressing hard here. I just want to give it an indication that that's where it needs to fold. The glue is still quite damp, so I feel like the quick adhesive has already dried, but it's the fabric glue that still seems to be wet underneath. I think I'm pretty happy with that. Some of this area will be covered over when we do this side, so, and a little imperfection on the spine under the signatures I don't think will be a huge drama. It's still quite tacky. So there's not going to be a huge amount of overlapping there by the look. Oh yes, there is. What am I talking about? There's an adequate amount. And I have just noticed I've got a pencil mark on here that I need to try and remove. I just don't know where my eraser is. My eraser's right next to me, seriously. So I just have the tiniest little pencil mark here. That's better. I'm just checking. I know I marked it top and bottom, so now I do need to be aware this time of where I'm putting the glue so I don't make the same mistake I did with the other half. So I do have a this little bone folder is the one that comes with my scoreboard, so it's just a little bit finer. As you can see, that's still, hoping you can see, oh yes, it's still quite juicy with the glue under there, so that fabric is going to take fabric glue. I'm so used to watching other people's tutorials and hearing the words fabric. It's going to take a little bit of drying time. Okay, so I'm flipping this way and I want to put my glue around this way. That was for my benefit, not yours, having just messed up that last one. Okay. Just rinsing my brush out, guys. Okay. I've tried not to put quite so much glue on this time. I'm hoping I've succeeded. I think it came to about there. Okay. Just trying to get right up to the edges on my paper. Oops, sorry. Me and my long brush. Okay, and I'm going to add this to, so I'm going to put this glue on the edge here. And then trying to make sure I get good coverage. Okay, and fingers crossed. Now I do need to just remove my excess glue off my paper here so I can bring the book across for you. Okay. Just checking I'm in camera. And then so I do have glue that's gone a little bit further than I need. And like I said, this paper is quite delicate because it's recycled paper that I've made, which is why it's reacted like that when I've just wiped it. I'm going to try and make sure that the edges are all adhered well. So just pushing those into place. I'll be interested to see how these little pieces dry here where the glue has seeped through. Hopefully they will dry well and it won't be too noticeable. But again, they will be under the signatures somewhat. So worst case scenario, I need to put a piece of something over the top there. But at this stage, I'm actually quite happy with the way that has worked. So just finding my crease. Again, I don't want to press too hard. Just sort of teasing it into thinking about the fact that that's where it needs to be. It's almost there. Just getting a little bit heavier when I'm pressing each time. Don't force it when you're doing this because you may run the risk of tearing the paper. Okay. So I'm fairly happy with the way that went. Like I said, I wasn't expecting this to tear away, so that was a little bit disappointing, but I think it will dry okay, and I don't think it will be too noticeable once I've got signatures in there. So I am going to set that aside to dry. It's still not quite wanting to fold in all the way on this side, but I think I will give it some time to dry before I try and tease it into working the way I need it to a little bit more. I don't want to force it when it's not ready. And that glue will be still quite wet underneath, so okay, so I think I'll leave it there. I will pop the camera off and leave it aside to dry. Okay, thank you so much for joining me, everybody, and happy crafting. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.